24 hours ago, we sat here and we talked about Justin Fields being the guy for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you do next? How do you surround him? How do you sculpt this offseason if you are the Steelers to make sure that your quarterback one of the future, of at least the near future, has the weapons and the coaches in place, the confidence around him to succeed and take this team further than they went in 2024, 2023, and many years before that? Well, today at about 1 p.m., 1:30 maybe, the other one said that, well, everybody's wrong, because I am talking to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have had my conversations with Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan, and that somebody is Russell Wilson. He said this on the Pat McAfee show today. He said, I got so much more in me, man. I'm excited. Obviously, my goal is to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers is a long time and hopefully finish my career there. Pittsburgh is a special place for me. I love it, and hopefully I can play there a lot longer. When asked if he has been talking to the Pittsburgh Steelers and negotiating a contract, he said, quote, yes, we have started to talk a little bit, obviously, and we had our meetings and everything else, and just kind of just getting into it. I think I stand here as most of those who heard this today and said, Russ, be honest with me. And Russ is a great person. Let's not steer the ship in any wrong direction here. Russ is fantastic. I would imagine he does a billion phenomenal things every day that we don't even know about, outside of the billion that we do know about. And I got a hard time believing Russ is a liar. I'm not going to sit here and ever say that. I bet you he knows way more than I do, obviously, way more than you do, way more than any of us do. So there's got to be some truth here. But I think we all did sit there and go, some clarification here, Russ. We talking exit meeting, or are we talking contract negotiations? Because it feels like there is a significant gap between the two. And I'm not 100% sold that we are talking about the latter. Feels as if Russ had a good exit meeting. They talked about how, yeah, they probably would like to do some negotiating this summer, had those initial talks. Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan have probably kept in contact with Russell Wilson and his agent, certainly. I don't think they sat down and started negotiating a contract. I don't think those things have happened. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Kind of feels like Russ is optimistic and excited, and the Steelers and Russell Wilson have had very premature conversations about what could possibly transpire this offseason. And I think it ended there for the time being. And Russ said yes, to make sure that everybody is still well aware that he is in the running, that he is a possibility, that he would like to stay with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Unless I'm totally wrong. But I listened to that one, and, I want to hear your thoughts. And just said, I would have loved a follow-up question. No diss towards McAfee or anybody else. Tone Diggs asked the question. Pittsburgh guy. Nothing. You phenomenal job all around. A follow-up question saying exit interview or contract negotiations would have cleared up a lot of this. I think it would have given us much less to talk about, but would have cleared up a lot of this. Russ is negotiating with the Steelers. Your thoughts?
Yeah, lying by omission is still lying on the surface. Like
Aaron Rodgers, my friend.
Yeah,
he is. Yeah. What did he say? He is. He has been immunized.
Yeah.
Shout
that
out.
Entire saga that I wanted to forget my entire life. No,
well, Russ made us remember.
Russ made us remember. I mean, it's not what he said; it's what he didn't say. That's probably closer to the truth, right? So nothing that he said was probably wrong. Did he talk to the Steelers? Probably, like you mentioned. Did he talk about the future potentially with the Steelers? Yeah, probably. Did his agent sit down and talk with Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin and open up contract negotiations? That I tend to believe hasn't happened yet, because the Steelers, as you've mentioned, notoriously drag their feet the first 2 weeks after the season ends. And if they're doing that, I have a hard time believing they're also opening up contract negotiations with a quarterback that, let's just face it, fell short of expectations in the latter half of the season. So while, yes, do I believe that Russ could have had conversations about the future? 100%. Do I believe he could have kind of left out the fact that they weren't official contract negotiations. Yeah, I also believe that too.
All right, football fans, things are getting real. Whether your team has made it to the conference championship or not, there's still plenty of ways to enjoy the games. Get in on the action right now with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbooks. They're offering all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly by just betting $5. Don't let this slip away. Download the DraftKings app now and sign up using our code ALLSTEELERS. The crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same game. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live in-game progress right as they are happening, making watching the games that much more exciting. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code ALLSTEELERS and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code ALLSTEELERS only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Yes, talking a little bit is the perfect way to say, yeah, we dabbled. We dabbled in a conversation. We said hello, what's up? Well, I expressed my interest, because that's the other part of this, is it could certainly go, hey, I just want you guys to know I'm very interested in staying with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love it here, blah, blah, blah. And then walks away. Yeah, we had some conversations. That could be it. I have a hard time sitting here and believing that it does and that it will happen. But it brings up a number of conversations here, okay? I think the biggest one is, when does that start? When do the real contract negotiations between both sides and both parties start? Because you have people saying the Steelers are going to draft a quarterback super high, and we'll dive into a lot of that tomorrow when we're not talking Russell Wilson. You have people saying Justin Fields is going to be the guy. You have people tossing out Aaron Rodgers' name still all over the board, everywhere, in every which way, shape, and form. But when does it start? When do the Pittsburgh Steelers finally sit down with somebody and say, all right, let's begin this dialogue? Let's go from we have interest, you have interest, to can we come to an agreement to where you are our quarterback for 2025? If I had to guess, those contract negotiations start pretty rapidly after the Super Bowl, that the Steelers start going, okay, we saw what's up. We finished our situation and our reviews and exit meetings and so on and so forth, because they are the slowest team in the history of the NFL to go through exit meetings. And then they say, okay, let's sit down. Let's have these conversations. Let's begin negotiations. I could see that happening right after the Super Bowl. A contract maybe being in place just before free agency, if it is Russ or it is Justin. If it's somebody else, I could see them waiting. But that's where I see it. Do you see a different timeline?
No, I think that's pretty spot on. I think the Steelers are a team that like to kind of get their ducks in a row and learn from the previous season before they start working on the next season. It's why they don't negotiate contracts in season. It's why they take forever to do their exit meetings. So would I be surprised if they waited all the way to March to make these moves or to start negotiations? No. Or I would be, not March, the end of the Super Bowl, which is February. No, I wouldn't be surprised if they took those couple of weeks, especially because, listen, in a week or so, Mike Tomlin's going to be in Mobile and he's going to have his focus on draft stuff that week. And you know that this conversation, even though outwardly only needs to happen between Omar and an agent, you know Mike Tomlin's going to want to be heavily involved in that conversation and that dialogue. So I can see that waiting until after the Super Bowl, especially for a team that, look at last year. They made an entire overhaul of the most important position on the team, and it didn't start until March. It didn't start until Russell Wilson came to Pittsburgh in March. And then after that, it was, all right, Mason can go, Mitch can go, Kenny, you want to go? All right, Kenny can go. And then on freaking St. Patty's Day, they brought in Justin Fields and kind of closed the book on it. They waited the whole way to March to make those decisions last year. So the fact that they're going to probably drag their feet a little bit later than January 22nd does not surprise me in the least.
No, I agree. I mean, I don't think that there were any. I am more curious to know when and how Justin's exit interview went down. If it, I would imagine it was pretty early in the situation or in the process here, but I would love to know what happened there. What was said? What did the Pittsburgh Steelers say to Justin? What did Justin say to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Because that's the other side of this is we know Russ wants to come back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only thing we've ever gotten from Justin was a half-hearted interview where he had to say the right things because it was week 18. You couldn't say the wrong things. You're fighting for a Super Bowl. And yeah, he wants to come back. Great. What did you think he was going to say? No? You think he was going to say, no, I actually hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I would love to burn this bridge before the season even ends? No, that's not what was going to happen. He's a quarterback. He knows what to say. He knows when to say it. You know, Kenny Pickett didn't want to be the backup, but he wasn't going to say that out loud. He never said it out loud. I was very pleased. I was still injured. You weren't injured, dude. You know, I love being the backup. No, you don't. You hate it. You wish that Mason Rudolph was your backup and that you were the starting quarterback. They're quarterbacks. They know what to say. We know Russ's side. We have no idea what the Pittsburgh Steelers said back to Russ, but we know what Russ said to the Steelers, and the door at least remained open enough for Russ to continue to say the same things. I want to be back there. I'm optimistic that I will be back there. I want to retire a Pittsburgh Steeler. If they said, hey, we're not interested in you at all, we think we're going to go Justin, I don't think Russ would have the same attitude. I don't think he'd be saying the same things. We haven't heard a single thing from Justin. Nothing. Because he's a backup quarterback. He's not going to go on the air. He's not going to go on the Pat McAfee show. We're just listening, waiting for something. So if I'm most curious about anything, it's not when this starts. It's not, are the Pittsburgh Steelers interested in Russ? It's what does Justin think? Where is his head at? I would love to know where Justin Fields' head is at in this process, because I think that's the biggest factor when it comes down to how this thing plays out. Is Justin as on board as the Pittsburgh Steelers? Is Justin Russell Wilson? Is he as gung-ho as Russ right now? I would die in a Steelers uniform. It would be fantastic if that's how I left. Like, is that what Justin's saying? You know, pick up on that? I don't know. We'll see what happens.